Hey people, it is Sunday, May the 5th. The time is 12:44 in the afternoon. And it's 11 Celsius here in Calgary, Alberta. This is my last day in Calgary. I'll be heading back to Toronto in just a few hours. So I thought I'd take one last walk around. We're on 17th Avenue, which is the hip and trendy strip south of downtown. And I did walk along part of 17th Avenue in a previous video, but I didn't walk along this section. So I thought I'd head east towards the section that I did walk along, but then before I repeat that section, I'll dip up into some of the residential neighborhoods. So if you put those two videos together, you'll have a complete tour of 17th Avenue. This strip is lined with restaurants and bars, with many patios, and it has a pretty vibrant nightlife scene, which I saw last night. I was having dinner at a restaurant, which is actually right there, called Buongiorno, with my sister and her friend. It's an Italian restaurant. It was very good. And then after dinner, I walked back to the Airbnb, and it was about 10:30 at night, and the area was hopping with activity. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to record that walk, but nevertheless, definitely an active street here in the Beltline neighborhood south of downtown. So I'll just keep an eye out for the part of 17th Avenue that I already recorded previously. And once I get to that part, I think I'll head north into the residential neighborhood, which is, as you can see, a fairly high density neighborhood with many multi-unit buildings. I always like these poster boards. You can check out what's happening in a place. Quite a mishmash of different building styles all along 17th Avenue. It's not a traditional retail strip in the way I'm used to seeing in Toronto, with mostly 19th century era storefronts built up to the sidewalk in a continuous row. It's a bit more spacious, I guess you could say. The buildings are obviously not as old. It's relatively urban, but not quite to the same degree. It has much more of a Western look, in keeping with the fact that we are in Western Canada. I felt the same way about Vancouver, about their retail strips also. It's pleasing enough, though, to walk along. Of course, not all the buildings are nice to look at. Plenty of restaurant options. My sister and her friend are currently at a Mexican restaurant. I opted to head out and take a walk around while they're eating. And I'll be heading back there eventually to meet up with them again.
I couldn't even I couldn't even get through.
Definitely has a different sort of style of urbanity here. New place coming soon, a deli. See some of the high density residential areas. Make my way up there pretty soon, I think. I think in my previous walk I went as far as a place called The Coup that my sister and her friend were eating at on that day. That was yesterday. So I'll keep an eye out for The Coup, and then I'll make my way north. And I think here it is right here. The Coup is right beside The Flea. All right, so next street, I'm gonna head north. It's a pretty big complex there, Executive Center. It's like a big Best Buy store. It's like some residential is incorporated into it as well.
Oh, is that a video?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, just doing a little walking tour of 17th Avenue.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Do you like post it
on YouTube?
On YouTube? Oh,
Yeah.
you have a YouTube account?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So if you want to check it out later, the channel's called The Ken Continuum.
The Ken Continuum?
Ken Continuum, yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to say hi on the video before I continue on?
Sure.
All right.
Hi.
Hi, I'm just visiting Calgary and I met two friendly Calgarians, so. All right. All right, so check it out later. All right, bye. right, so let's head north. This is 8th Street. Sorry. So if you keep heading north, you'll eventually find yourself right in the heart of downtown, or more on the western end of downtown, really, but downtown proper. North of the railway tracks is considered downtown proper. South of the railway tracks is the Beltline. There's a big Dollarama store. Can't get away from Dollarama no matter how far away you go from Toronto. Fifteenth Avenue, you can see fairly dense along these residential streets. And something is afoot at Circle K in Calgary. I didn't take a ride on a Calgary Transit bus during my visit, but I did take a ride on the C train, Calgary's light rail. And I recorded that ride, so that will be on my channel. Maybe it's already been on my channel by the time you see this video. Not exactly sure in what order I'll be posting these videos of Calgary. More residential density all along 14th Avenue. The Airbnb I was staying in was on 13th Avenue, just one street to the north, although it was quite a bit further to the east. And I actually also did a video tour of the Airbnb, which you may have also seen already, or not. There are some office buildings mixed in with the residential ones here, as you can see. Alley, Calgary Alley. See some of the huge office towers of Calgary's core. Only Toronto has more skyscrapers than Calgary in Canada. Calgary beats out Montreal and Vancouver, which are considerably larger cities, with its number of downtown skyscrapers. Lots of oil wealth here in Calgary. Just taking a look. Eventually I'll be heading back west on one of these residential streets. That was 13th Avenue we just crossed. Maybe I'll take 12th Avenue. All right, let's head west. The Alberta Ballet School. Fairly nondescript looking building, but some interesting things are happening inside of it. These are fairly recent builds here, these condo towers. Barb Scott Park. This one's called Aura. Same name as a very much taller building in Toronto. You might be familiar with the Aura condo in Toronto. It's currently the tallest residential building in all of Canada. And it's also the home to the Shops at Aura, the bizarre dead mall in the basement level. I wonder if this old building is slated for demolition to make way for a new building. There's lots of densification going on all throughout this Beltline neighborhood. And an old house from days gone by. If you go back far enough in time before all these apartment buildings were constructed, I think these streets were dominated by old homes like this. And you still can find houses like that if you just go a little bit further away from the core. There's an old school corner store, now a restaurant, but I bet you I bet you at one time, going back far enough, this was probably a corner store of some sort. Lots of rocks and gravel all along the sidewalks. It's something you don't really see too much of in core Toronto neighborhoods. And the air is very dry here. My sister and I have both commented on it. You can feel it on your skin, and your lips feel very dry. Something I don't normally experience in Ontario. Towering new residential building. And I didn't catch the name of this old school, but it's quite nice. I noticed a high school yesterday in another walk called Western Canada High School. I thought that was a pretty cool name. And another Circle K. More strange things are afoot. comes the bus. All right, let's head back towards 17th Avenue. Get a look at some more residential areas along the way. This alleyway seems to go on a long ways. Oh, check this guy out. Bike lane here on 14th Avenue. A lot of these brick apartment buildings you see all around are quite old, many of them dating back to the 1970s or even the 1960s in some cases. That was back when Calgary was still a relatively smallish city. Now it has well over 1.5 million. But as recently as the 1970s, it only had about 400,000 or so. It's currently the biggest city in Alberta, but at that time Edmonton was the biggest city. Calgary didn't overtake Edmonton until the 90s, I think. The late 90s at that. Talking about metro population. Might have even been the early 2000s. But the two cities are still very close in size. And it's quite possible that one day Edmonton will pull into the lead again since they're both growing so rapidly. Currently, Calgary is the fourth largest metropolitan area. Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, then Calgary, and then Ottawa and Edmonton are neck and neck for fifth place. I think Ottawa actually retook fourth place recently. But then I think Calgary might have pulled ahead. It's almost like a race with these three cities. Who will land fourth place? and stay there, because they'll never catch up with third place Vancouver. It's too far ahead. And it's also a fast-growing city. And I'm almost back where I began. Did one big rectangle. Back to 17th Avenue. And there's the restaurant across the street where my sister Melissa and her friend Naomi are having some lunch. I'm not sure if they're done, probably not, but in any case I'm going to start to wrap up the video here. Hope you enjoyed the tour of the more western portion of 17th Avenue this time around, as well as some of the residential streets in the Beltline neighborhood here in Calgary, Alberta, just hours before I fly back to Toronto. I'm not sure if I'll do any other videos later on from the airport or not. So this might be it for Calgary. I had a nice time in the city. So leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And also be sure to hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of my videos. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal, as well as via my merch store, or you can also support the channel by becoming a channel member if you prefer. And you can find me on Instagram under KContinuum. So thanks for watching, and thanks to all the channel members, and be sure to keep checking back, because as always, I will continue. And next time I will be continuing from Toronto, perhaps.